These are the 20 best mixed reality games that you can play on your Meta Quest 3 headset. So let's dive right into it. And starting it off with the first one, which is Spatial Ops. Now in here, you will turn your home into a battlefield while you try to survive in its fast-paced and competitive battles. But the cool thing about it is that you can use your furniture or other virtual objects as cover inside this game. And while it is of course best enjoyed as multiplayer or co-op, you can also choose to play it solo by going to their story-driven campaign mode. But that gets us to the second one, which is 11 Table Tennis. And this is probably one of my favorite mixed reality games of all time. And that all, well, it is actually quite simple. Because just like the title implies, 11 Table Tennis is simply a ping pong simulator for your VR headset. But the reason that this game is so addictive is that besides just being able to play against bots or practice your backhand, you can also choose to take it up online and play some ranked matches against people across the world. And that is also why I always come back to this game. But if you want a more unique experience, then we have number 3, known as Wild Town Wonders. And this one is probably easiest described as a miniature village builder, because in it, you'll help these tiny characters build their own world while also going through some fun quests and minigames. And once you complete those, you will also unlock new buildings or surprises along the way. And overall, this game is supposed to give you some relaxing and cozy gameplay while also having endless customization options and exploration just at your fingertips. But that gets us to number 4, which is none other than Demio. Now this is your classic Dungeons and Dragons experience, where you will roll the dice, command your miniatures, and experience endless replayability with one of its many built-in adventures. And while this game has been around for quite some time, it is still a must-have for anyone who loves a good dungeon crawler. But that gets us to number 5, which is Piano Vision. Now if you always wanted to learn how to play the piano, but you couldn't do this because of restrictions like your space or the cost of it, then this one is for you. And while you could use it as an overlay if you already have a keyboard laying at home, you can also practice one of its 1000 built-in songs by just using your table. So no matter how your setup looks like, you can learn how to play this instrument either way. And on number 6, we have Broken Edge. And this is your 1v1 sword fighting game that you can either play solo or online. And in it, you will be embodying one of its cool fighters that can go from Vikings to samurais and everything in between. But keep in mind that depending on the class you choose, you will also have different strengths and abilities that you can use in combat. But what I love about it most is the unique watercolor art style that comes with it. And somehow, this also makes the gameplay so much more satisfying. But it gets us to number 7, which is Triangle Strategy. Now this is the hugely popular hit from Square Enix that got its own port for the MetaQuest headsets. And if you haven't played the original already, this is a tactical RPG that makes you go through an epic campaign mode that even has multiple endings depending on the difficult choices that you make throughout it. And depending on your performance, as well as your decisions for these choices, the story parameters will then also branch out in which companions will join you in battle or how it affects your party. But what makes it so cool is that in mixed reality, these diorama-like structures come alive so much more, making it almost feel like it was made for MR in the first place. And on number 8, we have Home Sports. And this one lets you play things like pickleball or hockey, but then from the comfort of your own home. Because every single sport that this one has to offer will adapt to your personal play space, which makes it so easy to just jump straight into the action. And that also goes for bowling, to mini golf, and even badminton. But while the game also has a career mode, as well as solo matches built into it, it is probably best enjoyed as a multiplayer title where you can either add your friends locally or online. But that gets us to number 9, which is Lego Brick Tales. Now in here, you will be building and crafting your own beautiful Lego biomes. But while you're doing this, you will also be solving puzzles and embark on an epic adventure while you see the Lego world you constructed truly come to life. But in these worlds, you will also have to help these minifigures so that you can unlock new skills throughout its story, letting it up to the player to figure out the unique build that will work for each situation. And on top of just the standard storyline, there are also additional builds in its amusement park that you can completely customize to your own likings. But if you want to take your creativity even further, then we have number 10, which is known as Figment XR. Because this is probably best described as the ultimate sandbox experience for your VR headset. And that is because in it, you can truly create anything that you can imagine. That can go from decorating your room with some stunning 3D models, to making actual physics-based games, and so much more. So if you always had a cool idea of something that you wanted to try out on your Quest headset, but that just wasn't available as an official game, then this is a place where you can try to create it yourself. But before we go to the next 10 must-have mixed reality games, let's have a quick word from the company that made this video possible. Because none other than Cat VR, who are known to create VR treadmills that look like they come straight out of Ready Player One, are taking VR once again to the next level. Because while we normally are limited by the space and boundary system inside our virtual reality experiences, it is Cat VR that has been creating VR treadmills that let you run, crouch, and jump without any limitation. And since their most recent version, that is known as the C2 Core, is compatible with nearly every headset, it is often also considered as the dream upgrade for any VR setup. And they even go so far that for those hardcore fans, they also have high-end models that include things like haptic feedback or a vehicle hub, making it feel even more realistic, like riding on a horse inside VR. And as a cherry on top, you can also use the code VRelity for a $130 discount on your entire purchase. So for those who are interested, I'll leave a link in the description below. And that gets us to number 11, which is Smash Drums. Now, not only is this a great rhythm game that mixes gameplay from Guitar Hero and Beat Saber into an awesome drumming experience, it also has over 58 great rock songs for you to smash into. And on top of all that, you will also be burning a lot of calories while you're playing this. So if you're looking for a more calmer experience, then we have number 12, which is Vermilion VR Painting. With this one giving you an entire art studio where you can discover the relaxing world of oil painting. But the great thing is that if you, like me, are by far not the next Picasso out there, then you can also choose the different modes like paint by numbers or follow some instructional videos thanks to the built-in web browser. And luckily, unlike many other painting apps out there, this one gives you direct access to a high-resolution canvas, as well as all the artist brushes and features that you can think of. But that gets us to number 13, which is known as World. Now this one lets you discover our big planet thanks to its implementation of the complete Google Earth 3D catalog. And as a nice extra, they even built in an AI assistant that you can ask questions to about what you're seeing in any language that you want. And they also added in this popular game mode where you have to guess your location based on the images that you are given. So that's a nice extra. But on number 14, we have First Encounters. Now this one will probably not need an introduction, and while the gameplay is pretty simple, I do think it is still a great introduction for people that just got their VR headset. Because while you're trying to shoot these tiny furballs as quick as you can, you will also notice that they use your surroundings to hide behind it. And that will make you quickly realize the potential that mixed reality has. So if you haven't already, make sure to try it out at least. And on number 15, we have BAM. Now this feels a bit like the Super Smash Bros. For the Quest headsets. Because in this tabletop arena, you will take charge of your own miniature robot while you're trying to collect power-ups and try to knock out your opponents. And while you could also play against AI bots, it is most fun to just challenge other people around the world or play it with your friends. Just keep in mind that this game can get pretty competitive. Which gets us to number 16, which is Civilization 7. Now this is another AAA game from a massive franchise that finally got an official port for the Quest headsets. But one important thing to keep in mind is that while the game itself has some insane potential, at launch there were quite a lot of bugs and glitches, as well as visual downgrades and problems with the interface that really need to be fixed in some future updates. Because keep in mind that this game comes in at a total price of $60, which is quite a lot for a VR title. And that gets us to number 17, which is Puzzling Places. And this is probably one of the most relaxing experiences on this list. Because in here, you will be rebuilding some beautiful locations from across the world while you're trying to snap together all the many different puzzle pieces to fix the picture. And since they are all fully built in 3D, they will also look like highly realistic recreations inside VR, making this a great title if you just simply want to wind down after a hard day of work. But that gets us to number 18, which is Miracle Pool. And of course, as the title already says, this is simply a pool simulator for mixed reality. But it also includes some other cool features, like a single player mode, as well as private matches and minigames that can let you unlock new table designs, balls, or even cues. Although, just don't forget to not lean on the table, since it is not there in real life of course. And that gets us to number 19, which is Angry Birds: The Isles of Pigs. Now this franchise probably doesn't need any introduction, but overall, it is another entry in the franchise that will now put the epic bird-flinging slingshot in the palm of your own hands. And if you are finished with one of the 104 built-in stages, then you can also check out the community-created ones with over 34,000 other levels for you to dive into. So if you're looking for a challenging Angry Birds title, then you got your fill with this one. But that gets us to number 20, and that is none other than Thrill of the Fight. And while this title has already been out for quite some time, and even got a sequel that is in early access, it is still one of the best games that you can get for your Quest headset. Because this unique boxing simulator will put you into a virtual gym where you can battle it out against some unique challengers that each have their own style and techniques. But the cool thing is that compared to other boxing games out there, this one is much more realistic and can actually help you to improve your fighting skills. But that's not all, because now that you know all the must-have mixed reality experiences, you also want to make sure to see the best VR games that you can get for your Quest headset. So click on the video that you see on screen right now to make sure you don't miss out on that. And of course, stay awesome.